and Chris Paul. 60 minutes before every game, we get you ready for tip. It's Warriors Live with John Dickinson, and it starts now.
Indeed it does. From Chase Center, Warriors and the Oklahoma City Thunder set to go again. Third meeting for these two teams in the young season. Of course, the thriller back on November 3rd. Warriors winning that game by a bucket. And then the Thunder getting their revenge against the shorthanded Dub squad on Thursday here at Chase Center as Oklahoma City won that game 128-109. We welcome you inside Warriors Live here. Brought to you by Xfinity, the Xfinity 10G network made for streaming live sports as the Warriors and the Thunder set to roll again. It's Game 5 of the 6-game homestand for the Warriors as Golden State comes in at 0-4 on the homestand. Losses to Cleveland and then a pair to Minnesota. Warriors dropping that Thursday contest that I just mentioned to Oklahoma City. And so the Warriors, as well as they've started away from Chase Center, they have been that bad and actually worse on the home floor. 5-2 now on the road, and the Warriors looking for just what would be their second home win of the season, the only win the Warriors have inside Chase Center, coming back on November the 1st when Golden State beat Sacramento. Klay Thompson, the first of the back-to-back games that the Warriors won with 0.2 of a second to go. Klay Thompson hitting that jumper. Warriors at that point in really good shape, and they would go to Oklahoma City and Stephen Curry would hit the layup, and Warriors hadn't been a lot of winning going back since then for Golden State. But trying to get off the schneid at home, and the Warriors looking to match some of the road play on the home floor, which just hasn't been there to this point on the season. All right, let's get into our injury report right off the top here, which is, as always, brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more info, visit boxerlaw.com. And some good news for the Warriors. It looks as if Stephen Curry is going to return in this one. Steve Kerr, in his pregame press conference, telling reporters that the expectation is that Curry will play, barring any kind of setback during Steph's pregame warm-up. Curry had been listed as questionable and missed the last two games with what originally was right knee soreness. He took a spill in the first matchup against the Timberwolves and then was unavailable on Tuesday and Thursday. And so Curry set to be back in this one tonight with what had been reevaluated into being a right knee strain. But good news, the Warriors need Stephen Curry back. Steph playing out of this world basketball to this point on the young season, and everything else falls into place for Golden State once you get Stephen Curry back on the floor. And when you look at just how much the Warriors have struggled with secondary and third-level scoring, to be able to get Steph Curry back in the fold, it limits one of those issues. At least you know where your primary scoring is going to be coming from, because these last couple of games, and players did step up, in particular the game against Minnesota on the night of the fracas involving Klay Thompson and Jaden McDaniels and Draymond Green and Rudy Gobert on that night, which saw the Warriors lose 104-101. Others did pitch in, including Chris Paul and Brandon Podziemski and Dario Saric, with Saric and Podziemski going for 21 and 23 respectively in that game. But it was a little bit of a different story for the Warriors in the game the other night, as they really struggled at times to put the ball in the basket, also struggled at times to defend Oklahoma City, who really spread you out and drive and kick offense with Chet Holmgren playing there in the middle. So tough task for Golden State, but it was getting to the point where you started to wonder if Stephen Curry wasn't going to be coming back, and the signs were projecting toward him coming back relatively quickly. But how is this team going to get any wins against any team without Steph on the floor? So to nip that in the bud real quick and get Steph back out there and allow others to fall in line, I think that really gives the Warriors an opportunity to try and get back on track. And they're 6-7 now. I mean, you look at where the Warriors are in the standings in the Western Conference, and unfortunately for them, they're 10th. And look, it's probably early. I say this every night. It's early to be looking at the standings, but the one thing that's true, at least to this point, is the Warriors are much more in the Lakers, Suns category with themselves, to where they're, I think, disappointing at 500 to this point. And so you look at the Warriors inactives for this one. It is going to be Gary Payton II. We'll get to his news on that, as Stephen Curry is officially active and will return for the Warriors, as the inactives have just been released. And so we have that for you right here on 95.7 The Game. Usman Garuba is among the other inactives for the Warriors. Trace Jackson Davis is going to be inactive for Golden State in this one, as well as Jerome Robinson. Guy Santos will be among those active for the Warriors, and Lester Quinones is going to be active for the Warriors in this game as well. So, no Trace Jackson Davis. He played in Santa Cruz last night, and you look at the Warriors. Guy Santos also played, and Guy Santos had a hell of a game last night. We'll get to that and keep you updated on how he played in that ball game. So Warriors Live rolling on here on 95.7 The Game. It's John Dickinson coming to you from Chase Center as the Warriors set to go in this one versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. And give you that Gary Payton II update as well, because the Warriors did release an update on him earlier in the day. Gary Payton II underwent an MRI on that left foot. Looked like it was an ankle injury, landed awkwardly on the player for Oklahoma City, and went out of the game in the second quarter, early in that second quarter, after playing a couple of minutes, visibly injured and not at 100%. No structural damage, and it's a muscle strain in the left foot. So it wasn't an ankle sprain or a high ankle sprain or anything like that can keep a player out in the 4 to 6 or 6 to 8 week range. More of a muscle strain in the way that he rolled that ankle in the foot. And so Payton is going to be officially out for this game tonight against the Thunder and set to be reevaluated over the weekend. So with the Warriors game schedule coming quick, fast, and in a hurry, maybe that leaves the door open toward a potential return for Gary Payton in the coming days, whether it's Monday against Houston or Wednesday against the Phoenix Suns when the Warriors head down to the Valley, or when they return the night after Thanksgiving to take on San Antonio in what will be an in-season tournament game right here at Chase Center. So good news on Stephen Curry. He is officially back. And we'll see what Steve Kerr does with the starting lineup. Coach Kerr not revealing the starting lineup when asked. I think it was Anthony Slater, the Athletic, that asked about Jonathan Kuminga specifically, who led the Warriors in that game with 21 points on Thursday night. And I think Kuminga is going to be out there. I think the question will be, with Stephen Curry back, what do the Warriors do as far as the rest of the starting lineup? Does Curry back mean Kevon Looney is back in the starting lineup at center? I know Dario Saric had been playing with Chris Paul. I think Steve Kerr liked that combination as far as having those two out there together. I think the complementary component to Dario Saric and Jonathan Kuminga really worked as far as the front line, at least offensively, for the Warriors. But does Curry coming back change the calculus as far as does that mean Looney comes back? If Looney comes back, does that mean Steph Curry? Does that mean that Kuminga is less apt to start? We shall see with the way Steve Kerr aligns it. But, yeah, Coach Kerr not revealing what the starting lineup will be in this one for the Dubs. Klay Thompson will be out there. Andrew Wiggins will be out there as well. And I got to think Jonathan Kuminga, off of his 21 points, filling in for Draymond Green at the 4 in 27 minutes on Thursday night, I think he's going to be in there. The question is probably more centering around, do you want to have Dario Saric lined up with Kevon Looney? And now that Trace Jackson Davis is going to be inactive for the Warriors, does that create a scenario where you change the center rotation a little bit, and could the Warriors attempt to try and play small in this game against OKC that really has Chet Holmgren among their bigs and a lot of big wings and big guards, but not a lot of true bigs as far as the way Oklahoma City tries to play. So that, your injury report, brought to you by Boxer and Gerson. Again, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more info, visit boxerlaw.com. No injuries of note for the Thunder, as they'll start Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, and Lou Dort. And just popping up a late addition to the injury report, Trayce Jackson-Davis is formally injured, the Warriors say. Left leg soreness for Trayce Jackson-Davis had been ruled out within the latest injury report, which dropped here at 4:30. So no Trayce Jackson-Davis for the Warriors in this one as well, due to injury, not a healthy scratch, as it originally had appeared that maybe Trayce Jackson-Davis would be, as Trayce Jackson-Davis did play, as I mentioned, for Santa Cruz last night. And you look at Trayce Jackson-Davis and also Guy Santos, who returned from the G League affiliate of the Warriors. And Jackson-Davis had a double-double, 11 points and 10 boards, 4 assists, 4 blocks, as the Santa Cruz Warriors beat G League Ignite 121-112. And Guy Santos had himself a nice game as well. Guy Santos scoring 29 in the game last night with 7 boards and an assist and a couple of steals in 28 minutes. So Guy Santos getting that 14th roster spot, but still somebody that's going to be shuffled up and down. Guy Santos among those that are active for the Warriors in this game tonight as they roll on. So all of that is your injury report. Let's continue to keep things rolling here. It is Warriors Live on 95.7 The Game, presented by the Xfinity 10G Network, the best way to stream live sports, as the Warriors and the Oklahoma City Thunder set to go here on 95.7 The Game. Let's get to What's on Tap. What's on Tap brought to you by Farmers Brewing. Have you tried Farmers Brewing yet? If not, it's time to put your lips on a farmer. Farmers Brewing, check them out today. And as we sort of set the table for this one, we look at the Warriors and their ability to try and get off the schneid on the home court. Man, Warriors really hurting on the home floor, and it set back this team that started so promisingly away from Chase Center with the 5 wins in 7 games, and you could make the case that maybe the Warriors' most difficult stretch of the season was going to be the 7 and 9 to begin things on the road. And unfortunately, Golden State with Steph Curry back, and Oklahoma City among this group of teams that in the early going ahead of the Warriors in the Western Conference. I mentioned Phoenix and the Lakers. The Warriors have basically kept pace with Phoenix and the Lakers, 2 of the other teams that figure to be in that mix for the top 4 among the teams with more veteran-laden star power. Denver, obviously, being the 4th one as the defending champions, as they sit still atop the Western Conference at 9-3. But there's all these other teams, and I know Sacramento had a better regular season record than the Warriors a year ago. The Warriors obviously knocked them out in the first round of the playoffs. But the Kings are hot now. They've won 5 in a row. They're above the Warriors. Oklahoma City's above the Warriors at 8-4. Minnesota's above the Warriors at 8-3. Dallas is tied with Denver. New look Mavs, they're 9-3 on the season, and just red hot and playing really good basketball. So when you look at Dallas and these other teams, it really is highly competitive, and it really is some teams that the Warriors finished ahead of that think they are significantly better than the way that they played last year. And so not only are the Warriors battling Denver and the Lakers and the Suns for a top 4 spot in the West, they're also still battling Sacramento, who thinks they're a pretty good team, and now Oklahoma City, maybe, and Minnesota and Dallas, teams that were either out of the top 10 or in that play-in tournament going back to a year ago. So that kind of setting the table for what's on tap for the Warriors. This is a big one to stop the bleeding and to get a win on the homestand. I mean, you go back, the Warriors dropped 5 in a row. They've never lost 6 in a row under Steve Kerr, other than when you go back and you look at the 2019-2020 COVID-shortened pandemic 15-50 year. The Warriors have never lost 6 in a row under Steve Kerr, other than that season when they were without Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green for a good chunk of that season. So, this is a win the Warriors really need. Get back to even. The Rockets in here on Monday. Really, I think the onus for the Warriors as we look at what's on tap is to get tonight and get tomorrow and get to feeling a little bit better about yourself and get to 8-7 as you take your chances the night before Thanksgiving in Phoenix. And we'll see who's playing and healthy and available for the Suns in that game, as they've had a number of players in and out of the lineup, from Bradley Beal to Devin Booker. But when they have Booker, they're a pretty good team. When they have Booker and Durant, I know Beal's been out more than he's been in, but when they have Booker and when they have Durant, that's a team that's really difficult to beat. And we saw the Warriors struggle even with Beal out in the opener inside Chase Center going back on October the 24th when the Suns handed the Warriors the loss on opening night. So to me, winning the next two are key. I think you got to get the San Antonio game right back at home the night after Thanksgiving. And then, the Warriors get a couple of days off and an opportunity maybe to practice before they go to Sacramento. And look, the way the schedule shakes out for the Warriors, not a lot of travel. And so you got to take advantage of that. The Warriors took advantage of the road start and the necessity to play better on the road, but they got to start winning at home. And, they're not going to have to travel far. A couple of trips to Phoenix, a couple of trips down to L.A. to play the Clippers, who are struggling early on in the season. They go back to Sacramento in about 10 days as well. And so in-season tournament aside, maybe the Warriors have a one-off where they have to go to a random spot either December 6th or December 8th. But that lone game aside, in the play-in tournament, the Warriors are going to be they're going to be either in the Bay or no farther east than Denver on Christmas, all the way up until January the 12th when they go to Chicago. So they've got almost 2 months where they may play one game, and that game is still yet to be determined, but one game where they're east of Denver in the next basically 7 weeks. So you got to take advantage of that as an older team. But I think you could make the case that now when you look at the Warriors at 6-7, they did not make the most of being largely healthy up until these last couple of games. All right, Warriors Live rolling on. That's what's on tap, brought to you by Farmers Brewing. Warriors Live presented by Xfinity, the Xfinity 10G network made for streaming live sports. It's John Dickinson here on 95.7 The Game as the Warriors and the Oklahoma City Thunder are ready to roll here for a second consecutive game and for a third time in what will be the first 14 games of the regular season when it's all said and done tonight. What will Steve Kerr do with the starting lineup? If we get the starting lineup here in the next 3 or 4 minutes, before we hand this thing off to Tim and Tom, we'll let you know. But yes, good news on the Steph Curry front. Steph Curry officially active for Golden State in this one. Let's get to our Eye on the Stats, brought to you by the Goodman Eye Center. When it comes to your vision, be sure to go with a winning team. Go with Dr. Daniel Goodman and his team at the Goodman Eye Center, the choice of champions. Schedule a free consultation at goodmaneyecenter.com for more details. And we talked about Jonathan Kuminga, the 21 points in Thursday night's game against the Thunder, season high, coming in his first start and the 10th time in Kuminga's career that he's had 20 or more points. And second chance points for the Warriors have been an area where Golden State has thrived, and also an area in the past where they have really struggled and really been problematic against other opponents. But the Warriors, 18.8 second chance points for the Warriors this season, number one in the NBA through the first 13 games for them. And the Warriors are getting 14.3 offensive rebounds per game, which is second to only Utah. So a team that's looking for offense, somewhat surprisingly on a lot of nights, they're getting the second chance opportunities to boot. And so you look at that, and if the Warriors can keep that going with Steph Curry back, if Steph Curry being back can allow for the bench to be in more order and more productive, the Warriors have not had the dominant bench games that they've had, or at least they had when they got off to the start where they won 6 of the first 8 before the 5-game losing streak. So that your eye on the stats. Again, brought to you by the Goodman Eye Center. When it comes to your vision, be sure to go with a winning team. Go with Dr. Daniel Goodman and his team at the Goodman Eye Center. Again, GoodmanEyeCenter.com for that free consultation. Final couple of minutes here. Warriors Live on 95.7 The Game. Let's get our Take It to the Bank prediction for this one. Stephen Curry, 4 or more three-pointers. It's happened in every game Curry's played so far, and I'm going with an easy one. I've tried to get Clay going. I've tried to get Wiggins going for Warrior fans. I'm just going with an easy Take It to the Bank prediction brought to you by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises, and it's going to be Steph Curry going for 30 and hitting 4 or more three-pointers, and I'm feeling a Warrior win with Curry back and the energy changing a little bit. All right, join me at Harmonic Brewing after the game by taking your phone calls and your texts as we react to this one. Warriors and the Thunder. Tim and Tom have the call. Straight ahead right here on 95.7 The Game.
Since first opening its doors in 1964, Fremont Bank has approached banking with a simple idea in mind. Growth comes one customer at a time. You see, while some institutions might be on the lookout for the next big thing, we like to think that's what you'll be. And when you achieve great things, it leads to success throughout the community. It also allows us to continue our tradition of giving back to the region. It's a strategy that's proven successful for nearly 60 years, and we expect to continue success for